G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y and Z. I can do this all day. Now I know my ABCs. What is wrong with my mic? Is it on? Next time, won't you sing with me? I'm going to have to pick a new song.
Sure. Can you do it in reverse?
Sure. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's not really a problem. The mic is multi-directional. Yeah. Okay. Am I mic checked? Is it working?
Keep going,
Okay. Holy smoke. Okay, I'm going to read you this email then. Here we go. Good afternoon. As we move into uncharted territory, I wanted to reach out to all of you and first say I hope that you are all safe and well.
That's good. That's good. Thank you. Beth kind of has a list of things for Thursday she could tease on YouTube in the 5 minutes that we're pre-live, if she wants to.
Let me see if I can find the dang.
She's going to find it first.
I'm forwarding it to Sam Green so he can print it.
Oh, she's going to forward it to you so that you can print it. Do you want to send it to me as well? Do you have my email?
And it's probably got some other documents in it which you should disregard.
Okay.
What has it got? Hold on, let me make sure I didn't send anything. Oh, no, it's just, there's nothing confidential in this email. Okay, thank goodness. I scared myself.
Did you guys all hear that? No perspectives. The show we were going to do.
It's just all flat.
No perspective. I have days like that, man.
I hate that our
Oh, let's talk about school lunch programs too and explain about the summer lunch program being extended for most schools.
Yeah, and then the
Oh,
HWAS site.
I am in here.
Oh, well, there you go.
Or no, maybe it just found me.
Who knows? Did you send it?
I didn't hit send. I just
There it
typed
is.
my name in.
So it's a long, boring email, but at the bottom it's got this great attachment. Holy
No,
smoke.
just so we don't see
He
it.
didn't BCC it.
No brand.
Okay,
Werther's
well,
may
it's
be
messy.
watching, you know.
Okay.
But this,
What did I
Activities for
see?
Children, is a really good list of, it's like you've
Some
got
shows
preschool
obviously.
stuff
Some
on there,
shows
but
Yeah.
these have
obviously
really
so
cool
much
stuff.
Yeah.
better.
Barks,
Yeah,
when
so
I did
that
night
list
court, Larry kept
would be nice to actually have
Barks,
it printed out.
John
For
Larson,
minutes.
the actor,
So
right?
to talk,
And he
so we can
told
talk
not
about
to.
Thursday.
And all of a
Well, what I
sudden
was
they would
going
do
to
a
say,
cafeteria
well,
scene,
you can
and
mention
he
it during
would
the
pull
show,
this
but I
out
was
of his
going to
suit
say since
and
we're
drink it.
live right
Barks
now,
would
if you
send
wanted
us
to like give a shout
2
out about Thursday,
huge
but I think during the
pallets
show,
of root
Yeah.
beer,
yeah,
so it became
Or
a
even if I just
product
had a printed list, we
placement.
could just start tossing out ideas.
Well,
It's
you,
so much
have you
easier.
heard about
right. Do you want me to print
Apple
that up right
and
now?
If you would, if you
Yeah,
can,
just
that'd be
that
perfect.
document.
Just that one.
the movie The Bad Guys Can't or Bad Guys Can't Have Apple Computers.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
So the
iPhones.
so they can
Yeah.
have any Apple
Yeah.
product.
Well,
So
Disney's notorious. I mean, they go after grade schools,
oh, I know.
teachers that write that do animate their characters. They'll
They're
just go
horrible.
after.
But so now that's a tip off to who the bad guys are.
Yeah.
Who's using a PC in,
Right.
or a not
If
an
you're
iPhone.
trying to figure out who is, who's gonna be the traitor later on,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is he won't have had an Apple phone the whole time.
Yeah. That's about
Live from the Key TV studio to your TV and on the web, it's Homework Hotline. Go to homeworkhotline.tv to ask your math or science questions.
Welcome to Homework Hotline. I'm Ken Pinkerton. I'm a retired science teacher from Zane Middle School.
And I'm Beth Baker, and I teach middle school math in McKinleyville.
And we're here to answer your math and science questions. We've changed the format if you haven't watched this for a while. If you go to homeworkhotline.tv
On the web.
on the web, then you can see us streaming. So the cool thing about it is that we can be seen worldwide right now. Our record is Tel Aviv.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I'm hoping we have some watchers from Colorado today. And I have a friend in Australia that I keep bugging her to try to tune in.
Oh yeah, is it midnight for her or
That's
some
what I was
crazy time?
wondering
Yeah.
about. So I'm not expecting it. Anyway, at that site, you can see us streaming, and you can also email us questions, or there's a phone number listed there, and you can
And
give
it's
us a call.
707-497-5044.
Right. And
Yeah.
the emails are easiest because we've got a great screen here, and we can put them on there, and it makes it a little bit
Yeah.
easier. And then you have a hint for cutting and pasting math
Oh,
problems.
a lot of students have ebooks, and if you have an ebook, you can just copy a problem that's giving you trouble and paste it into an email and send it to us, and then we can tackle it, because sometimes it's hard to explain a problem that's like a word problem or whatever, which is great. Reading comprehension is like a big deal in math, and so I figure anytime a math teacher can help you with your reading, it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
And so you could just copy and paste it into an email and send me the whole mess, and we'll tear it apart and make the darn thing behave itself.
Yep.
Figure out what to pay attention to
Definitely
and
so.
what we can ignore.
And then we know another issue is that there's nobody in school right now. I don't think that there's anybody. But a lot of people rely on the school for breakfast and lunches in particular.
Right.
So if you go, either call your school or the district, and they'll tell you where lunch programs are available. Like in Eureka City, I think there are a lot of the elementaries.
And also the County Office of Ed has a pretty good ongoing list. So if you
Right.
search the HCOE, Humboldt County Office of Ed
Right.
website, they're posting. And lots of kids participate in the summer lunch program. So lots of kids know how to swing by school. Usually
Right.
it's like between 11 and 12 or whatever.
Right.
Each school district's got its own time. And then all the food service staff are preparing meals.
Right.
My school district right now is doing bag breakfast and bag lunch.
Nice.
Our school district has many kids that are eligible for free and reduced lunch
Right.
because of their family
Which is
income.
McKinleyville
Yeah,
Elementary,
so
right?
McKinleyville, and so right now it's at McKinleyville Middle. Many school districts right now are working on using their school bus routes to see if they can deliver both academics and or enrichment activities and food. So lots of school districts are figuring that out as they go, so just stay tuned. And like our school does robocalls for everything, so
Right.
if you have your phone number registered, that's how our district gets the word
Right.
out. Facebook is the school's Facebook sites are a really good way.
Right.
Some schools are doing academics, other schools are only doing enrichment activities right now while they get it figured out. So every school district is kind of figuring out for their own students what's the best way to move forward.
Right.
Not every district is the same. So anyway, in that summer lunch program, it's a very similar model as being used right now.
Yeah. But if all else fails, give the school a call or the district office a call, because I know that in Fortuna they're delivering right down the street from my house, so that they're using the bus routes.
Are they all ready?
Yep.
Pretty quick work.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm impressed that they do,
And
and I know how
yep.
important that is too. And
Yeah.
then if you have a spare hand, I know we're supposed to stay in place, but they can probably use volunteers to. I know there's kids who are way off the beaten track that could probably have lunches delivered to them, and it would be a wonderful thing to do. So.
Yeah, and that's a little tricky because school districts do have fingerprinting and security clearance things. So if you already work for a school, it could
Right.
be that you can usefully do that stuff. And in our school district, I'm one of the people who runs around and delivers. And then there's also a lot of communities have Friday food bag programs with their local community center. And so we're also working on delivery systems for that. So families that are doing shelter in place and families where children usually only travel on the school bus
Right.
if they don't have other transportation. So we're figuring it out sort of a family at a time and a district at a time. So there's lots of resources out there. And always the easiest thing to do is just to call your school or email your school
Right.
and see what, just because it's, every community has different needs and they're being served in slightly different ways.
Definitely so.
Yep. Should we talk about social distancing for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have probably heard about social distancing. The recommendation is that you wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands, and also say 6 feet apart. So I would have thought like maybe this is 6 feet apart. This is
Right.
not 6 feet. This is 4 feet. Okay. Here, Ken and I are now 5 feet apart.
Right.
And here we are now 6 feet apart, and this counter happens to be exactly 6 feet, which
right.
is
So
actually
you
not
stay on that
terribly
corner?
surprising.
Okay.
So if I say, "Hi Ken, how are you today?" we could chat from here. It
Right.
feels a little weird, but in fact, if we get used to this, so I run into Ken
Yeah.
on the street, and I'm really excited to see him. I haven't seen him in a while. We would stand like this and have
Right.
our normal chat, feeling a little awkward because
Right.
we're further apart than usual.
right.
But this is like considered to be safe social distancing. Also, I was
That
at
way, if you cough on somebody or
we're going to sneak in a little
the,
bit
the
closer.
chances of the virus being transmitted is greatly reduced at 6 feet. So, and then
Yep.
like you said, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. Wash all surfaces at your house.
There's
you know, that-
super
that-
cute videos on how long to wash your hands. So, for example, if you sing the alphabet while you're scrubbing, because most of us don't wash our hands for long enough. So, like if I'm in a hurry, I kind of go wash, 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 and I'm done. That's about half as long as I should be washing my hands for.
Right.
So, learning how to really wash your hands. There's great YouTube videos where people put their hands under the little lights that show
Right.
the viruses and bacteria, and so you think you've washed your hands, and then you can check and see like where you missed, like by your thumb or on the backs
Right.
of your hands or whatever. So
Thumbs
this is all
in
stuff we
between
need
your
to get
fingers
good
are
at.
all things, and it's just great
Yeah.
health practices anyway. It's
And
something.
as
It's
soon as
stuff we
I
should
think
have already
don't
been doing.
touch your face,
I
I
know.
realize I just touched my face. I'm trying to break a hard habit.
We should have a count going and just.
Oh my gosh. Probably somebody already does. Maybe
Right.
you shouldn't
see,
tell
see
me.
how many times that you do that, and then remember coughing into the vampire cough, and then don't link elbows with somebody. That's what I thought
Afterwards.
afterwards. So it's not a good way to say hello. So for this time, we're just nodding or coming up with some other way.
Admire everyone from afar as much as you
Definitely
can.
So. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Uh-huh.
So, and we'll get through this. So
Yes.
the thing is, right now we're just trying to. This is a condition that most people are probably going to get, and the severity is a huge spectrum. Of some people will hardly even notice it, and other people will become very sick. And the ones we're worried about are the elderly. And so what we're trying to do is just slow it down. It's like right now, I heard a great comparison. If you go to the grocery store, everybody's kind of running in and all the toilet paper's gone.
Yeah.
And we don't want that to happen at the hospitals. We don't want everybody to get sick all of a sudden. And then
Hospitals only have so many beds.
Right.
So if a few people get sick over a very long period of time, that's called flattening the curve.
Right.
Okay, which is why we're doing things like social distancing and sheltering in place, doing everything we can to
And closing
slow down the
schools, right,
virus.
right.
Closing schools, any place where bunches of people are together, where maybe we could all, if somebody coughed on somebody else, a bunch of people would get sick, for example. Is if we flatten the curve, then the hospitals can take care of people one at a time or a few at a time, and we'll have enough medical care for everyone.
Right.
So the advantage to slowing down the curve is that we don't get overwhelmed.
right, and
Yeah.
especially on the medical people out there, as we don't want them to get inundated and get them sick either. As we
Yeah.
want to, if people who genuinely need to be there, then we want them to have those services, and people who don't need to be there, don't.
Yeah.
And in some of the modifications, I know the Discovery Museum Perilous Plunge, which is their big fundraiser of the year, has been modified. And rather than jump in the bay, what they're doing is encouraging people to take videos or pictures of their modified plunge. And they can do that in a variety of ways.
How
I know
fun.
one team has a very good picture of them just jumping off things.
Oh.
And so,
Well, I guess you could go jump in the bay by yourself
Yeah,
and then go
so,
home, you know.
so that's still, if you're a plunger, keep it up. Go there. And on Saturday, I know they're collecting funds and handing out T-shirts. We're going to have long sticks to hand out T-shirts.
Lots of fundraisers are still happening
Right.
because lots of things we're still fundraising for.
Yeah.
And so we're having to kind of reinvent and get really creative
Right.
about how things that are usually a big gathering or a big celebration, we got to figure out how to do it either online or, you know, just however it
Yeah.
goes. So.
And
Yeah.
the Math Festival also is one of it's a victim. It was April 4th.
yeah.
And so what we're doing is, if you are on Facebook, join us. It's the Humboldt Math Festival group. And what we'll be doing is posting puzzles and some of the activities. We just made some cool arrangements with Verizon to help us out with a couple of the activities. And so you can do some
Wonderful.
math
And then
challenges.
what's that website that people can go to? What's it called?
The math festivals? It's HumboldtMathFestival.org or
Okay.
HumboldtMathFestivalWeebly.com, I think.
Ah,
Either
okay.
of those will
Right,
take you
okay.
there.
So Humboldt Math Festival will take you to some really fun activities that you can do.
So we'll
And
be-
then I understand there's an order of operations one that kids can
Yeah,
do
that's
on
the
their
one
phones?
we're working. Well, we're still just getting it. That's
Okay.
who Verizon is helping us with.
Got
is
it.
We're going to have order of operations that
Uh-huh.
that you can solve, and then take your answers and call a phone number. And if you get the answer right, there'll be a nice message there telling you so.
Oh,
and
and
if you
here's a
get a
little
really crabby
announcement.
person, then you probably called the wrong number.
So Humboldt Math Festival still has some resources. So if you're
Yeah.
bored and if you're as sad as we are that the Math Festival is canceled this year,
Yeah.
then there's a great place you
Yeah,
can
there's
go.
a lot of art activities and
Oh.
other things on there. And then you brought a cool list of things that you can do.
I have a list of indoor activities that will keep kids entertained at home during the coronavirus outbreak. And we will find a way to post this on the Homework Hotline link so you can look it up. But it's got things that I never thought of, like make a pillow fort. I love pillow forts. And there's good
Or
engineering
if you
in
have
that.
all that toilet paper, you could make a giant.
No, don't do that.
Don't buy more, but if you have
Yeah.
it, you could make a
Yeah,
fort.
make an obstacle course. So instead of a pillow fort, you could put down your pillows and use different things
Right.
and make an obstacle course. So you could do that inside. Get kids involved, like cooking and recipes. So there's just a really great. This list is thanks to Roger Goleg, who's the HCOE's Homeless and Foster Youth Coordinator, and he sends out great resources. Plan a scavenger hunt could be really fun. Board games, of course. I love board games. And then any kind of like little outside things, like we have those.
Yeah, watch Keat.
Oh,
Definitely
there's
tell
the voice of Sam
Right.
says you could watch Kate.
There's all kinds of great
can
TV shows on
Binge watch
that
all kinds of stuff.
yeah.
Sometimes when our kids were little, they loved to camp inside, so we'd pitch a tent, and they would climb in there with like every stuffed animal book.
TV so they can watch.
Oh my goodness. They would have little tablets in there. So that was an amazing one.
Yeah.
And then I think on Thursday we'll talk a little bit more about a wonderful video called Kane's Arcade about a little boy who made, it's a documentary now, about a boy who made incredible games using cardboard boxes and tape. And so I think we'll do a little
bring in
shout out to
some
that. And
things
so on Thursday we'll do a little demonstration of that kind of, like everything you can do with cardboard and tape.
Right.
Just kind
and
of
hot
amazing.
glue is even better.
Oh yes,
Or,
absolutely.
duct tape.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So every week on this show, our science teacher makes some sort of an amazing demonstration of some scientific concept. And it looks like Mr. Pinkerton has brought magnets for us this
Right.
week.
And
so maybe
if
we
you're
could talk
lucky
about those.
enough to have some of these things that you can do explore at home, the magnets are pretty cool, and you can. So we're going to show you how to make a couple things and some explorations with magnets. So magnets are an interesting thing. They're an object that attracts metallic or iron-based materials.
Is it iron, nickel, cobalt, and
Yeah.
steel? I vaguely remember
It's-
that
yeah,
from chemistry class a million
Right.
years ago.
It's ink. That's the way I remember.
Oh, okay, got it.
And so it's iron, nickel, and cobalt.
And cobalt.
Yeah,
Okay, got it.
So and then there's some of these. So this is actually called a lodestone, and it's a naturally occurring magnet, and it's also called magnetite.
Okay.
And the Chinese are attributed with the first ones to know about it. But I think it was probably discovered all over the world because I know the Pacific Islanders and.
Does it occur? Is it volcanic?
Yes.
Oh, it's
I
heavy.
did that so it's got a high iron content.
Oh, that makes sense.
And then it was probably volcanic because the way things become magnetic is that they have particles inside, billions of particles inside that have basically a north and south pole. And if they line up, they become a magnet. And if they are not lined up, then they tend to not be a magnet.
So will it-
So that one is So I don't know if it'll.
I can definitely feel it pulling.
Yeah, so we'll see if it'll. And this has been around. They're not as strong as you would hope.
Oh.
And this one's been sitting with strong magnets
Well,
too.
this
so
one
might
I
have
can
messed it up.
feel that it definitely
Yeah,
has
it definitely
the pull.
sticks to the strong
Yeah.
ones. And this is the magnet that you have in your hand is really a cool magnet. That's affordable. It's called a cow magnet.
Cow, C-O-W?
Yes, and the reason they're called cow magnets is because cows have 4 stomachs. And the first stomach is very, very muscular and very, very strong. It can put up with a lot. And especially in the past, they used to use wire to bind all the hay bales.
Oh,
I'm
as
moving
a,
away.
yeah, okay, we're gonna shun each other a little bit. As a kid, I built everything out of baling wire.
Yeah, baling wire
Oh my
was awesome,
gosh,
but
yes.
it's hard to find now. And then also barbed wire fences were a lot more common than electric ones. And so cows aren't very particular on what they eat, and so they would, they'll swallow nails and things.
Oh,
and if they don't, and if they do that, they get what's called hardware disease, because if the nails pass beyond their first stomach, it can actually perforate their stomachs, or and it can lead to them to die. So what farmers do, or dairymen, or farmer or dairymen, is they take these and they shove them down the cow's throat into their first stomach, and anything that's metallic.
It stays in that first really tough, really rubbery stomach.
So
wow.
when they pull these out, like after the cows died, they'll find inside these will be coated with nails that are all wrapped around, because that stomach is so muscular that it will actually bind them up. So those are inexpensive. You can still get them at feed stores, and they're quite strong.
Wow.
Before the
I never heard of cow magnets before.
Yeah, they're very cool. And you can do a lot of neat stuff with them. So one activity, if you have magnets, this is a fun one we tried before the show, is you have
we
one
almost
person.
never practice, but we did this time.
So it'll be a disaster for sure. So if you can hold that somehow, because holding onto it by hand is tough. And what I have here is a paper clip and just tied to a string.
It's just tethered almost like a hot air balloon.
And then what's kind of neat is that
balloon.
you can have it stand, and they're not touching. So there's about a half-inch gap, I would think. So.
And I know the math for magnets, which is the power decreases as the square of the distance.
Nice, just like gravity.
So the closer it is, it's much stronger. And if you double the distance, it's 4 times weaker.
Right. Very
so
cool.
it's the square of the distance. So you can kind of play with it and see how far you can get.
So you can
now, do we have other magnets that are more powerful than this one that will give me greater distance?
I don't know if I have any. Well, let's see.
I feel a tea table coming on. We may not get there today, but.
Let's try these two together.
Okay.
And then I can dig through my magnet box and see if we have. The strongest magnets out there now are called alnico. They have a combination of nickel and I guess aluminum in them. So they're really, really strong ones that you shouldn't put near your hands.
Oh, can they like pinch your
fingers? They can really pinch your fingers badly. So I don't know if this has got an alnico or not. Yeah, so I think that's.
It's definitely more distance.
Yeah, so that's
definitely
like an inch, so that's twice as strong.
Okay, now can I rotate it?
Yeah, go.
Oh,
and then what's neat also is watch, you can do it this way, is you can do it from the side too.
Oh, got it.
Is that we're defying gravity, as it were.
Okay, let's see how far we can
There
get.
we go.
Oh.
So it's by that magnetism.
And then it definitely looks like it's sort of tethered to the end of the magnet, because as I waggle the magnet back and forth, it tracks it.
Yeah, so
the
the field extends out,
that's very cool.
Considerably. Yeah, so that's something you can mess around with at home. You probably got magnets, and they're everywhere now too. So
I had a student years ago who found an old broken microwave, and he brought me the magnets out of it, and those were powerful.
Yeah, those are the strongest.
Like strong enough where if I put them on the whiteboard, they would like almost pinch my fingers when they snapped on. It's like, oh my god, I could put like 7 or 8 papers. Whoops!
Right.
All the magnets just clicked together.
And this is
I'm
another
socially distancing.
place, right? Where we're moving. Another place, if you have old speakers, these are hard to get off. But this is a speaker here.
Oh, okay.
And we can talk about that later of how they're there. And so this is a nice ring magnet from a speaker, and they're not as strong, but they're very strong. The speakers aren't as strong as the microwave speakers. Those are the best ones.
Strongest ones.
The strongest ones out there.
And then the speaker, I think, if I can see it, I think that the curve of the speaker, the way this thing is a hyperbolic curve, which is very easy to graph. So if we have time today or on Thursday, we can also talk about this particular curve, because this is a super easy math problem right here. Nice. Sitting that cross section.
And there's a cool origami you can do of it too. You can make a hyperbolic curve with origami. So another thing you can do at home that's quite easy is you can make a compass. And so we'll do that. Why don't we do that first thing?
All right.
So
we're talking about the compass that points north, not the compass that you use to draw a circle.
Right.
There's also a very cool trick to turn your hand into a circle drawing compass. Maybe we can talk about that too.
You want to do that?
Do we have the sky cam?
I think we do.
Okay, good.
Well, okay, well, let's do the compass here.
All right.
So I'm taking a paper clip, and I'm just clipping off a small section of it.
Yep.
And then I just take any magnet that I have, and I just rub it a few times. And what happens is that if something that has iron in it is exposed to a magnetic field, especially a strong magnetic field, then it will become a light magnet. It's a temporary magnet. And so right now that magnet should be
Slightly magnetized.
slightly magnetized. And then
Okay.
I just get a cork. I got an old wine cork or
Oh, it
anything
looks like
that
you
floats.
just did a little slice of it.
And yeah, I did
Okay.
a slice of it, and then I'm going to put it
Uh-huh.
on there. Okay, this way.
Center of the table.
Okay. Am I okay?
Yeah, further, yeah.
There. Okay.
Okay.
And then I'm going to move some of these away, and then we're going to hot glue it on there. So if you'd put a little
Okay.
gob of hot glue on
Ooh, watch-
that, not me.
Watch your hand. I'm going to be so careful.
Okay, that's perfect.
Ooh.
Now, and I found that hot glue is the best. And you could do other things, and then if you were in the woods, you can actually do this and float it on a leaf or something like that. And then I'm going to try to find the center of the table.
The glue gun is
Okay,
just
the
right
glue
there,
gun's
so
in
we'll
the
go.
center? Okay.
Sorry, we're adjusting and the cameras are adjusting. This is
All the
teamwork,
cameras
people.
are also
Sorry.
staying 6 feet away from each other. So,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to put that down there. Whoops, it's stuck to my fingers. And then this is another magnet. A little that way, okay.
We lost our mask. We used to have masking tape on the table, which made us a little slicker at this whole
Right.
thing. Yeah.
Now here's the problem is I have all these magnets, so it's going
Oh,
to
yeah,
throw
let's get
things
'em all.
off. So we'll use this one
Okay.
here. This is a neat magnet or a compass because it's just a
Oh, very low
magnetized
friction.
bar
Uh-huh.
yeah, on a pin. And so
Yeah.
I'm going to try and move this back in here to
And
the
then
middle.
see if we can get them to line up.
Right. Because it
And
might
is
not have
this one
magnetized
still
it.
swinging because there are so many magnets around?
I think, or just it's a very, very fine bearing. And yeah, so
And let's just get these even
they're,
further away. I guess we could grab a magnet and just build our own north
yeah,
too if we felt
that's
like
true
it.
too. So-
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, and then one of the things that
Are
that
they
brings up-
affecting each other?
probably a little bit. So yeah, that one's
Oh
now
yeah.
swinging.
Because
So.
they're both swinging back and forth.
And then also the hard part is keeping it in the middle of the water.
Uh-huh.
And I have it a little bit off to the side too.
Yeah.
Is that they'll start orienting that way. So
And
it's
now
it's
I'm
a
not
magnetic
super
compass.
oriented right now, but is north that a way?
I think north is kind of that way.
Okay.
But
Uh-huh.
yeah, by this magnet over here, this compass north
Ah.
is kind of that direction. So
Yeah.
this is
So can
lining
we
up.
put this one in the
Yeah,
shot
bring that
also
one
and
in.
see? This is like our real deal. This is the one we're going to measure by.
Right. That's my
Okay.
pirate magnet. So, but
Oh,
then you'll
uh-huh.
notice that it's moved. Now, if you ever
Mhm.
have like a magnet in a car, you'll notice that when you turn on your car, all of a sudden the magnet will move.
Uh-huh.
If you have, not an electronic magnet, and what's happening there is all the electricity that's running through your car creates magnetic fields.
Oh, and it scrambles the magnet
Yeah, it
for a minute?
scrambles the magnet. So,
Oh,
so
fascinating.
So if you're really dependent on it, that's one of the things that you need to compensate for.
Is there a magnet in the base of this?
I don't think so.
Oh, none of our compasses are agreeing on which
I
way
don't know
north is right now. Yeah.
I think, well, and then the metal in this table also will affect it. So
Okay,
if there's
got
a
it.
metal rod there, but
Uh-huh.
actually they're kind of pointing in the same direction
Yeah.
now. So,
Yeah.
but that's a way you can
We're
make it.
gonna we voted on it and we think north is roughly that
That
away.
way.
Yeah.
So generally speaking,
Yeah,
so that's a way you
uh-huh.
could make and then experiment around with it. See if I'm going to try and increase the strength of my magnet by doing it.
The other thing for those of us that live by apps is you can get an app on your phone that shows which
Yeah.
way is north, and so if you wanted to try to make a floating magnet at home, and I think there's great historical accounts of people who have used this little floating magnet as like the technology of the day. So
Right.
when explorers really needed to know where north was,
That's
way
right.
before we had anything high tech.
They could make it that way.
Is
yeah.
you could actually make a compass out of a dish of water and a
Yeah.
magnetized needle and float it on the surface of the water. So,
Now they're
so
agreeing,
for
yeah.
those of you who are like history nerds, especially the history of technology,
Yeah.
this is a particularly deep field that you could really Google the heck out of
Now we're
because it's
getting
quite
some
amazing.
Pretty good agreement on which direction
Ah.
north is now. I just remagnetized that.
Definitely a little better.
Yeah, definitely. So.
Yeah.
So you can make a compass.
Oh, good. I
for
think we're
home.
going to get another compass right here.
Oh,
So here's an app.
right.
Okay.
And we don't want to put your phone too near the compass. And then the
Yeah.
other important thing is that there's geographical north, like the North Pole is
Mm-hmm.
north, and magnetic north. There are two different things.
Oh yeah,
is
there's
that
two kinds of North Pole.
Yeah, there's
That's
the
true.
magnetic North Pole, and then there's the geographical North Pole.
Yeah.
And then the really wild thing is that the magnetic North Pole wanders a bit. So So yeah, so we're pretty well agreeing. There's definitely, I think there's metal rods in this table, but these two are lined up quite well right now.
Yes, finally.
So
That's good. We have a little
we can
consensus.
find our way out. Okay, this way.
Okay, so we're going to move it this way. And before we do this again on Thursday, we'll put our tape down on the table
Yeah,
so
we'll
we
see-
can
so
hit our
right-
marks a little
right.
better. But anyway,
Yeah,
so,
definitely so.
uh-huh.
All right, so we're about to wrap up, but so we want to remind you: wash your hands, follow the news. You know, check in with your schools, especially if you eat.
Yeah.
We don't want you to be hungry out there. There are programs that are out there.
Yep.
If you have a way to get outside by yourself, do. The fresh air is
yeah.
good for you. If
I
you have a
went for
park
it.
nearby, stay away
Yep.
from people. But you don't have to sit on your couch the whole time. So
No.
we'll see you on Thursday, and be safe.